Representing the ACRF, Australian Centre of Excellence in Melanoma Imaging and Diagnosis, which is a flagship diagnostic centre to improve the early detection of melanoma. It could truly revolutionise the early detection of this disease. Please, let's put our hands together for Professor Peter Soyer. Yeah! Come on, Peter. After 30 or so pretty tough years, the last almost a decade has been quite amazing in melanoma. Before we get into this specific project, talk us through the last decade in this field of research, and why has it been such an amazing time?
I mean, the amazing aspects obviously related to the treatment of metastatic advanced melanoma with this new targeted treatment and recently with immunotherapy. And basically, it seems that melanoma is on the way to become a chronic disease. It's not yet there, but the results from the many, many clinical trials, and Australia is actually leading in this field, is very, very promising.
When you say a chronic disease, you mean something that 15 years ago was a death sentence, sorry, you've got a short period of time, to something that people might eventually manage and live with?
Yes, yes. This is basically the idea. Already now, basically 15% of patients with metastatic melanoma are cured, which is not 100%, but still. In the past, it was probably 1%. So it's really changed, but it's going really in this direction. And this is, of course, extremely exciting. Our research, however, and the money which we got from the ACRF, we don't work on the treatment of metastatic melanoma, we work on the other pole, on the early diagnosis of melanoma.
What do we need to do to improve our ability at early diagnosis of melanoma? I
mean, one thing is, of course, to be sun smart. And to be honest, Australia is leading the world in this kind of, in this marketing, yeah. And I know this I'm working for 34 years in this field, always in the early detection of melanoma. I'm obviously here from my accent from Austria, but I moved from Austria to Australia 11 years ago.
Austria and Australia, they're so close.
Yes, yes, you know, I
alphabetically.
have no kangaroos in Austria, you know what I mean? So this is very clear, and yes, indeed, we don't speak English. No, but the reason why I moved to Australia is because you guys are leading the pack in the incidence of melanoma, full stop. In the incidence of invasive melanoma, and of course also in the incidence of the early phases of melanoma. And this is what drives us and people who are working in this field, that with new technology, we want to change this. And our vision is a world without melanoma. I know this sounds very bold and very crazy, but at the end of the day, I think with this infrastructure which we are getting, we definitely will get a step closer to this vision.
It is sometimes called the Australian cancer because despite, as you say, tremendous public health efforts, we experience 12 times the global incidence of melanoma in Australia, the most common cancer in 15 to 39-year-old Australians. Yeah. One big part of what you want to do is over the next 3 years, taking scans. First of all, put some numbers on how many scans, what are you trying to do, then we'll talk about the degree and the quality of the scanning that you're looking at.
Yes, I think the idea is that each device, we plan to sample 3,000 research participants per site, and 3 per 15, you come up with already 3,1545, right?
Yeah, correct.
So this is quite significant and over 3 years, so we are assuming that we will be able to basically collect 100,000, close to 100,000 avatars of people with all sorts of melanoma risks. But the very exciting aspect is this, that we will also collect biomarkers, saliva for genomic studies. So we will see this as a very holistic approach, all in the field of early detection of melanoma, to get it before it metastasizes.
When we talk about imaging, tell us about these 15 3D systems. What do they do? What's so exciting about the nature and the quality of the scans that you'll be taking?
Yeah. For many years, I had this kind of dream, melanoma diagnosis by one click. And we were thinking this with a mobile phone of a given lesion. But this device is basically looks like a spaceship, yeah? A little bit more elegant than the scanner which we have at the airports, for sure. You stand into this, obviously more or less naked, which is clear.
Let's just say naked, no, more or less. You're naked.
And then, within really 1 second, 92 cameras are shooting, and within 10 minutes, they're building up an avatar of your body surface. Wow. Which, and I always say it's a very, very good quality. It's not yet perfect, because at the end of the day, still a bit of research has to be done from the technology side, but also in regard to the validity and these sort of technical issues. But the image quality is really fantastic. And then you can zoom in. You can zoom in a given lesion, and I would see on your face, Adam, lesions, which I don't see when I'm very close to you. And this is really, really amazing. And by the way, these 50 machines, we will put it along the eastern seaboard with this money, not just in the metropolitan centers. We will put it in Mount Isa, in Cairns, and in Orange. And always forget the name of the, what? Bendigo. Yeah. Look, I mean,
we say Bendigo.
Yeah. So please forgive me. But the idea is really...
No, it's Bendigo. I don't want to embarrass Bendigo.
We want to build up a telehealth network, which we're basically doing what in radiology is anyhow done. Yeah? Because as you know quite well, there is a workforce distribution in Australia which is not perfect. And I think we want to address that what is called tyranny of distance. And we are very, very confident that with telehealth network, we will be able to do this, or at least again, get a step closer to what should happen.
Mate, if you're talking about standing totally naked in front of 92 cameras for 10 minutes, sign
me
up.
No, just 1 second.
Just quickly, the coalition with Cancer Institute that Ian touched on, this is a really important part of rounding out the project, isn't it? Why do those sort of coalitions and collaborations matter so much?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's always, I have learned since I'm here in Australia, it's all about leverage, you know? You need to get the funding from the NHMRC, from the AARC, so where they basically judge your scientific quality. But then, of course, you need the Cancer Foundation, and to be honest, also other foundations in other fields of medicine, to basically top this up and to provide this leverage. And very often, then benefactors are jumping on top of this. Yeah? So this is something which I have not witnessed back in Austria. So this is something which is working actually very, very well in Australia.
Please give Peter Soyer and the whole team a big round of applause at our flagship program for this year. Wonderful stuff.